Friendly reminder. This is definitely the best Thai horror movie I've ever seen. Adapted from an ancient Thai legend that has been passed down for centuries. It perfectly blends high-energy horror scenes with a heartwarming family story. The ghost wife remains silent. Are you ready? The story begins at a high school in Thailand. Xiao Na and Mike are a lovey-dovey couple. They love life and are very positive. They often get together to study, and in their spare time, they can't help but feel restless. And sometimes they end up doing things that couples do. They thought their happy life would continue like this forever. But soon, their relationship was discovered by Mike's mother. In a fit of anger, she went to the school and scolded Xiao Na for being shameless, and accused her of being after money, for seducing her precious son. For Mike's future, the mother sent him to another school. Although the two were reluctant, they could only accept this reality. But unexpectedly, just a few days after Mike left, Xiao Na discovered she was pregnant. The mother was furious when she found out. Without saying a word, she took Xiao Na to a back alley clinic for an abortion. Unexpectedly, this clinic actually used the most primitive method of abortion. Without administering any anesthesia, they just tossed her around violently inside. The intense pain made Xiao Na feel worse than death. After a series of hoarse, desperate screams, Xiao Na ultimately died tragically on the operating table. The mother rushed in upon hearing the commotion. She held the corpse and cried out loudly. Meanwhile, Xiao Na's soul stood by. She had no idea what to do. But soon, her stomach began to hurt intensely. As blood continued to flow endlessly, a baby fell out. Xiao Na, holding her child, had already reached the breaking point. The next day, her mother came to Xiao Na's rental apartment to pack up the belongings and return home. But at that moment, a strange thing happened. It turned out that Xiao Na's soul did not want to leave, but wanted to wait for Mike to come back for her. So she expressed her emotions by throwing things. Her mother was so scared that she had to leave quickly. When night fell, the landlady was checking the accounts. Suddenly, the computer screen flickered continuously. After turning off the TV, a ghostly figure actually appeared inside. She was so frightened that she quickly turned to look, but there was nothing there. Just when the landlady thought it was an illusion, unexpectedly, that ghostly figure actually reappeared on the screen. In order to allow Xiao Na's soul to rest in peace, the mother found a shaman to perform a ritual for her. However, as soon as the shaman entered the operating room, strange things began to move inside. In the next moment, the shaman was so frightened that she quickly fled the operating room. No matter how the mother tried to persuade her, she dared not stay there any longer. Your daughter has turned into an evil spirit. Don't try to contact her. She's coming. She's coming. By nightfall, strange things happened again. When an elderly woman was returning home from grocery shopping and passing through the corridor, a baby stroller suddenly appeared ahead of her. Driven by curiosity, she walked over to take a look. Unexpectedly, at that moment, a woman in white silently appeared behind her. She felt someone tap her on the shoulder. But when she turned to look, there was nothing there. But when she turned back again, the female ghost had already appeared in front of her. She saw the ghost slowly pushing the baby stroller away. The startled aunt didn't even care about the things she just bought. She hurriedly ran down the stairs. This scene is truly spectacular. I really want to drive to the scene and take a look. Speaking of cars, I recently bought a car from Guazi Used Cars. I bought a BYD Han. I only spent a little over 90,000. It's 100,000 cheaper than a new car. It drives just like new. New cars depreciate quickly now. Guazi is particularly cost-effective. Every car at Guazi has undergone official professional inspection. You can test drive for 3 days first, so you can buy with confidence. If you have a used car, you can also sell it through Guazi. In short, trust me, Guazi is the right choice for buying and selling used cars. At this moment, in another room, two men are drinking. Halfway through, the man in the hat suddenly got up to go downstairs to buy something. But when he pressed the button for the first floor, the elevator strangely went to the fourth floor instead. Immediately after, he felt a chill coming from behind him. He turned around to look. To his surprise, it was Xiao Na holding a child behind him. Under the numbness of alcohol, the unsuspecting man in the hat actually initiated a conversation. He even kept teasing the child in Xiao Na's arms. Little did he know, the next second, the child suddenly opened its mouth wide. My fingers. It's so terrifying. There's a ghost. Strange events happening one after another made the tenants lose their composure. They threatened the landlady. If she didn't send Xiao Na's spirit away soon, they would collectively move out of here. In desperation, the landlady had no choice but to call in a master to exorcise. Unexpectedly, as the master entered the building with his apprentice, a baby stroller suddenly appeared ahead. The apprentice immediately forgot about the serious matter and started making silly faces at the child. But when he picked it up, he realized it was actually a ghostly baby. The two had no choice but to enter the eerie room. Little Na had been waiting here for a long time. The master was just about to make a move. Unexpectedly, his hands and feet suddenly became uncontrollable. Little Na just shook her head. The exorcism knife fell to the ground. Seeing this, the master still wanted to cast a spell, but Little Na didn't give him a chance at all. Suddenly, a loud roar was heard. The master's hands immediately became uncontrollable. Soon after, Little Na's boyfriend Mike, whom she had waited for 2.5 years, finally appeared. As soon as he opened the door, he saw the beautiful Little Na. The house also returned to its original appearance. Unaware, Mike held Little Na tightly in his arms. It seemed he felt the warmth of his beloved. Little Na finally revealed a long-lost smile. But on this day, when Mike went downstairs to buy something, people around looked at him with strange eyes. Mike thought the neighbors had bad intentions. Little did he know that his beloved Little Na already turned into a ghost. One of the girls wanted to tell him the truth, but a nearby young man, who didn't want to cause trouble, stopped her in time. After Mike returned home, he informed Xiao Na about the matter. Unexpectedly, that night, Xiao Na launched a revenge plan. After living with Xiao Na for a while, Mike took the initiative to propose marriage to her, so he ran home to discuss it with his mother. But unexpectedly, as soon as his mother spoke, she shattered his worldview. "What nonsense are you talking about? She is already dead." "Nonsense. I was just with her and our son today. She is really dead. I know you don't like her, but cursing her to be dead is too much." "Mike, I am telling the truth." The mother and son ended up parting on bad terms. But when Mike returned to the rental apartment, he still felt a hint of doubt in his heart. To dispel any concerns, he took advantage of Xiao Na's distraction to secretly point the camera at their son nearby. "Oh no." Xiao Na hurriedly asked upon hearing the noise, but Mike only claimed it was during the photo, that he accidentally dropped his phone on the ground. But strangely, Mike not only did not expose the truth, instead, the bond among the three of them became even stronger. On the other side, the utterly terrified tenants gathered together to discuss how to completely subdue Xiao Na's spirit. After some discussion, they decided to invite the most authoritative monk from Thailand. But when the monk learned of their intentions, he was unwilling to come out of seclusion, because the pregnant ghost was still haunting her loved one, the thing that cannot be obtained. Even in death, it would never give up. This is a huge karmic consequence. But faced with the two's persistent persuasion, the monk finally gritted his teeth and agreed. I have to say the monk really has some skills. He had just arrived at the building. He immediately sensed which floor Xiao Na was on. "The ghost is on the 4th floor? How do you know?" "I felt her presence." Before the monk entered, he reminded everyone, "No matter what sounds you hear in a moment, remember to never enter the building." After saying that, he went in alone with his tools. Meanwhile, Xiao Na also sensed the monk's arrival, so she had Mike take the kids to the rooftop to play for half an hour. She stayed behind to confront the monk head-on. However, this monk is not like the previous con artists. As soon as he entered the corridor, Xiao Na controlled all the doors, trying to make him retreat. But unexpectedly, the monk simply recited a few incantations, and the corridor instantly returned to calm. At that moment, the door to Xiao Na's room slowly opened. Immediately, she transformed into a fierce ghost and charged forward. The monk, seeing this, waved his hand casually, and sent Xiao Na flying against the wall. Undeterred, Xiao Na quickly launched a second attack. As expected, she was once again thrown out. The monk who swept away all demons and monsters in Thailand was not just a name without substance. Facing Xiao Na's third attack, the monk summoned with one hand, directly suspending her in midair. Seeing that Xiao Na had lost all her fighting power, the monk slowly took out a stack of Buddhist strings from his bag, calmly wrapping them around Xiao Na's head and hands. Then, he took out a 4-meter-long machete, preparing to send Xiao Na into endless hell. But at that moment, Mike returned to the room holding the child. Looking at the scene before him, he was filled with anger, accusing the monk of why he would harm his own wife. The monk told him not to deceive himself any longer. "What happened? Don't you know yet?" It turns out that when Mike was taking pictures of the baby, he learned the truth. Out of instinctive fear, he quickly fled the room. But on the way, he thought of all the moments with Xiao Na. In the end, he mustered the courage to rekindle his relationship with Xiao Na. However, unexpectedly, a car suddenly sped towards him. Mike couldn't dodge in time and was killed on the spot. After death, he immediately became a wandering spirit. He didn't even have time to take a good look at his body. He hurried back home to be with Xiao Na. At that moment, Mike just wanted the monk to spare them, and he promised he would never leave this house, and he would never harm anyone. In the face of heartfelt pleas, the monk ultimately chose to agree. However, just to be safe, he still sealed the house with talismans, so that the family of 3 could enjoy happiness forever. With the end of the haunting incidents, the building finally regained its lively atmosphere. After watching this movie, I just want to say I believe in love again. The cycle of life and death never ends. Only true feelings must not be let down. Today's story ends here. I am Fragrant Pig. See you next time.